We're talking about how today is April Fool's, but no joke, this week is one of the best times to list a home. According to Realtor.com, homes listed between March 31st and April 6th are projected to get 14% more views and 5% less competition. The study showing that a home listed during this week tends to sell faster and higher in price. Joining us is Douglas Elliman, who's president and CEO of New York City Stephen James. So let's start with those numbers.
Okay, good.
Yeah. Why April?
We're set free. We're set free from winter. We're ready for new directions, and it's a much easier process, especially when it comes to open houses. You know, February, March, we don't really get a lot of traffic at the open houses. It's just plain cold. But once April rolls around, there are a lot more opportunities, many more open houses, and it just feels good. You're ready for new directions.
This comes at a time when we've seen some of the data that's pointing to what's really prime for the real estate market. We've seen mortgage rates falling, inventory going up as well. How much more upside do you see now that we are in that month where you tend to really start to see the gains?
I think there's a tremendous upside. These interest rates have sort of tempered the market over the last 24 months. And now that those rates have come down, it means that the buyer has more opportunities and more wherewithal to purchase, and so they're going to be out looking. I mean, that doesn't negate the fact that during the winter months, they've probably been online, looking, sorting it out, looking at floor plans, looking at landscapes, looking at neighborhoods, all kinds of things. But now here's an opportunity for them to take that homework that they've done and go out and actually look at the product, and that's really good for everybody.
In the conversations that you've been having, what's been holding buyers back? Has it really come down to the rates?
I think it's fear. Fear that they're making a mistake, that maybe this isn't the best time to buy, or that I'm not going to get a great deal. But the truth of the matter is the data shows that you probably will get a good deal because the market had softened, and now that we're seeing an uptick in sales, it's because those sellers have become far more negotiable. And when a seller is more negotiable, you can strike a much better deal than you could in a much more upside market.
And where are we seeing the biggest growth right now?
Right now, certainly interestingly enough, in this quarter, in the $1 to $2 million range, which I consider, you know, not the entry level, but the next step. So
the fact that we're talking $1 to $2 million in entry level, yeah.
Yes, but even in the 20+ million in this quarter actually ticked up, which is kind of remarkable. But I think that goes to the point where sellers have become far more negotiable, much more realistic, and much more accepting of the fact of a lower offer because they also want to get on with their lives and do other things with that money.
You pointed to fear sort of holding back some of these buyers, and now we're seeing them get in on the market. How long do you think this lasts? Is this something that's sustainable?
I do think it's sustainable, and I think if you look at past markets, you can see there is a history of that. But usually the window is pretty short for getting a deal. Usually when people realize that deals can be made is probably past that time. But I think this market is going to be much more stabilized as we move forward. It's not going to be such a big swing up, nor do I think it'll be a big swing down, but I think it'll be a steady climb to new directions, and I think that's a good thing.
And the biggest risk that you think could derail some of this recovery that we're seeing?
I think something terrible in the marketplace, financially, crises of some sort, but I don't think anyone really sees that that's going to happen. I do think that most people believe that the interest rates are going to stay further down, maybe not a further dip, but they're going to stay much better at these lower rates, and that's a good thing for a consumer.
So a lot of viewers watching this saying, well, maybe I get in now. What's the one piece of advice, one takeaway?
You know, make sure you've done your homework. Make sure that you know what you're looking at, the neighborhood you're looking at, the kind of building you're looking at, making sure that that's where you want to live. Look at all your choices out there and look at the marketplace.
Okay, it's great to have you on today. A lot of people are going to be looking at this and maybe making some calls today. Stephen James joining us here on set.